heard there were plenty of teams going for your services, DeWanna, so why was this the right opportunity for you?
I just feel like it was the location for one. My kids are literally right up the road, and I've spent a lot of time away from them, so that and the core that they have here now is just kind of want to fit in, and be another piece of the puzzle, and hopefully bring the energy dynamic and take us to a different level.
Did you see that when DB came back and played for us, that they got mad that our fan base was booing her?
I don't believe in booing former players unless they left on like some you type shit.
You won't believe what Sophie just dropped about Bonner's messy exit. It's pure jaw-drop material. Cunningham didn't sugarcoat a thing when she called out exactly how Bonner walked away from the Fever. She straight up exposed the attitude, the moves, and the behind-the-scenes shade that flips the whole story on its head. If you're on Sophie's side, type "good riddance" in the comments, because what she's saying paints Bonner's goodbye as anything but classy.
Bonner battling with Hall. Bonner turns, fades, fires, and leaves it way short. Great defense there by Hull. Copper tracks it down and bounces from Bonner, who had her shot blocked. And it's a shot clock violation. Bonner walled off by Hull, and then blocked at the rim. Indiana has that 5-point lead in third.
When DeWanna Bonner inked that deal with the Indiana Fever, it felt like the perfect chess move. This wasn't just another vet walking through the door. This was a proven winner with championship scars and the kind of pedigree every contender dreams of adding. Nobody saw it coming, but when it happened, Fever fans went wild. Finally, Clark was getting that battle-tested mentor who could help guide her through the grind and push her to the next level. The media tour sold the dream even harder. Bonner stood there in front of cameras talking about how excited she was to run with Caitlin Clark and bring leadership and buckets to Indiana. She framed herself as the glue, ready to teach, lead, and still drop 20 on any given night.
Booed in her return, which is to be expected considering the circumstances in which she left. And the players that have come in for the Fever are much better than Bonner was for them. Ari McDonald has been a revelation. She was great in this one again. And Chloe Bibby looks like a perfect fit. So all in all, Fever fans have to feel pretty damn good about.
Sophie Cunningham, who knew her from Phoenix, co-signed the hype. She called Bonner a Hall of Famer and a hell of a basketball player who can score from anywhere. Even Clark was all in, saying Bonner's voice was already the loudest in the locker room. On paper, it looked like a match made in basketball heaven. You could see it. Clark's eyes lit up like a kid on draft night in those early practices. The whole Fever squad was buzzing, the fans were hyped, and the front office thought they'd just pulled off the perfect move. This veteran addition was supposed to crank their championship dreams into overdrive. Then the ball tipped, and reality smacked everyone in the face. Over 9 games, Bonner put up just 7.1 points a night. With shooting numbers so rough, people started double-checking the box score to make sure it was the same player they signed. Add in just 3.8 boards and 1.6 assists? For a player with her resume?
Having DeWanna Bonner return to Indiana, and what were your thoughts on the fan reception tonight?
Honestly, that got nothing to do with me. I think DB returned because we were playing Phoenix, and so that happened to be that. The fans chose to do what they wanted to do, but for us, it's about paying attention to what we have to do here, and that was coming in and getting a big win, which we were able to do.
That's not just underwhelming, it's embarrassing. But it wasn't just the stats, it was the vibe. Bonner played like she was somewhere else entirely, her body language screaming, "I don't even want to be here." Fans in the stands were whispering, teammates started trading side eyes, and the energy just fell off. Then came the moment that flipped the season. Coach Stephanie White made the call to bench her. Imagine that, a so-called locker room leader glued to the bench just weeks into the season. You could cut the tension in that locker room with a knife. Fans who believed the hype felt betrayed, and players expecting a leader got nothing but silence.
DB is somebody that, he's a Hall of Famer, like a legend, not only a good basketball player, a great person, a great leader. The strongest voice in our locker room is her.
That benching should have been her wake-up call. The perfect moment to stand up, prove her worth, and remind everyone why she was brought here in the first place. Instead of using that benching as fuel, Bonner's story took a wild left turn, way past bad shooting nights or lazy defense. The same woman who swore she'd be Clark's veteran rock started showing a side of herself that left everyone stunned. Being benched was humiliating enough, but what came next turned DeWanna Bonner from struggling vet into a total mystery.
I'm still rooting for her. Like, I want her to end her career and be happy, but I also think that, like, it's okay to be professional about it and, like, send a text to your teammates. Send a text and be like, hey, like, love you guys. Or you don't even have to say love you guys. Just like, hey, sorry this didn't work out. Good luck. Da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? Like, there's a way to handle that.
One day, she's sitting on the bench, barely getting minutes. The next, she's just gone. No goodbye, no real explanation, just a vanishing act. The Fever quietly started listing her absences as personal reasons, which in sports talk basically means we don't have a clue what's happening either. Games rolled by like chapters in a bad soap opera. Fans scanning the bench, searching for her face, only to find an empty seat. Those vague personal reasons updates fooled no one.
Her minutes had significantly dropped from last year. Well, in turn, if her minutes drop, a lot of her production numbers that she can see and the rest of the league can see also dropped with it. Look, she's just like Natasha Howard. She looks old on the court. All right, not trying to be this is not ageism. She looks like an older athlete. All right, she looks slower on the court, and the team has been lacking energy. It's been a serious problem. Seriously, long overdue. Let her go to the place where she feels she...
Even Coach Stephanie White looked baffled in pressers. Her eyes said she was just as in the dark as everyone else. Reporters kept pressing, but the answers were vague, hollow, almost rehearsed. And the real mess? Watching her teammates get put on the spot. Players like Caitlin Clark had to stand there giving those careful, everything's fine type answers. But their faces told a whole different story. Everyone could feel the awkwardness, and nobody was buying the PR spin. You could see the frustration written all over their faces. They were biting their tongues, but the tension was loud. Clark had banked on having that steady veteran voice, and instead, all she got was dead air. Then the puzzle pieces started snapping into place. Whispers turned into full-on rumors. Bonner wasn't coming back. That personal reasons line was falling apart fast, especially when weeks kept sliding by and suddenly it had been over a month. Players started speaking about her in the past tense, and that said it all. The bomb dropped when word got out. Bonner wasn't just skipping games, she was eyeing a return to the Phoenix Mercury right now, mid-season, while still under contract with Indiana. The audacity was unreal. And those personal reasons. Turns out they weren't about family or health. They were about comfort. She just didn't like the situation and wanted out.
When it happened? No. Not even privately? Yeah, I mean, okay. That's tough. And, yeah, okay. Well, I did say what? Unless you leave on some fuck you type shit, and that's what that is, so.
Yeah.
That hit the Fever locker room harder than any losing streak ever could. Clark had gone on record praising Bonner's leadership, calling her the loudest voice in the room, only to find out that voice belonged to someone who would vanish on her teammates without a single warning. Instead of teaching a rookie how to handle the grind, Bonner handed out a crash course in unprofessional exits.
I like DB because like DB was one of my vets when I was in Phoenix, and then we gathered here into Indiana, and like it was kind of a surprise that she was signed to Indiana anyway, and so we'll take her in a heartbeat. Like, she's a Hall of Famer, she's a hell of a basketball player, can score from anywhere on the...
The truth was ugly. Those mysterious absences were really just code for I'm done here. And she left her teammates scrambling to fill a hole she never planned to patch. And what Sophie Cunningham spilled about this whole fiasco? It blew the doors wide open on just how selfish Bonner's exit really was. Sophie finally broke her silence on her Show Me Something podcast, and what she revealed flipped the entire narrative about DeWanna Bonner's walkout in Indiana. Sophie wasn't some outside observer. She'd played with Bonner in Phoenix, then reunited with her in Indiana, watching every twist of the drama unfold right in front of her. When someone with that kind of inside view decides to talk, you know it's about to get real. The bombshell? Simple, but brutal. Bonner wasn't just unhappy in Indiana, she was miserable. But Sophie didn't stop there. She peeled back another layer, exposing exactly how Bonner handled her exit in a way that screamed unprofessional.
I wouldn't do anything differently. You took 80 grand from the Indiana Fever. You could have just signed. Like, that's one of the things, like, I don't understand why you take these interviews. I don't understand why someone would take an interview and say that, when the reality is that all you did was took a whole bunch of money from it.
Then Sophie aimed straight for the jugular. She laid out exactly how Bonner should have handled it. Calm, respectful, and with a little basic decency. "I'm still rooting for her. I want her to end her career and be happy," Sophie said. "But I also think it's okay to be professional about it and send a text to your teammates." She wasn't asking for a parade or some emotional locker room speech, just a simple heads up. But Bonner didn't even give her teammates that.
She's towards the end of her career, so like she deserves her flowers. She deserves to be happy. But I also think that if you're gonna leave, like you're gonna have to expect getting booed.
Sophie's words cut deep because they came from a place of both respect and disappointment. And when someone who's got your back calls you out like that, the whole league listens. Sophie was talking about the bare minimum, basic human decency, a simple text. The fact that Bonner couldn't even pull off that level of courtesy told everyone exactly who she really was. A ghost. And Sophie's words hit harder because she wasn't some talking head tossing out hot takes. She'd been Bonner's teammate twice, knew her personally, and still went on record saying she handled the whole thing unprofessionally.
Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split ya. See ya, wouldn't want.
That takes guts, especially in a league where players usually keep the dirty laundry in-house. The reaction was instant. Fans finally had the inside story they'd been dying for. Analysts could now point to real confirmation from someone who had lived it, not just rumors and whispers.
Well, I don't want to come off the bench is not a personal issue. Well, I don't like my role.
Sophie's honesty showed the frustration even former teammates had with Bonner's disappearing act. And it validated what so many had already suspected but couldn't prove. Then came September 30th at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, the showdown everyone had circled. The moment Bonner stepped onto the court in a Phoenix Mercury jersey, the crowd let her have it. The boos started in warm-ups and didn't stop. Every time she touched the ball, the arena exploded with hostile jeers, making it crystal clear exactly how Indianapolis felt about her mid-season betrayal.
Here, she signed a max contract. She knew Phoenix didn't have the bread. She got 80 here and went and got the rest over there. I think it's trash.
What made the whole scene even sweeter? Watching Caitlin Clark on the bench, sidelined with a groin injury, but grinning like she just hit a game winner at the buzzer. She was living her best life watching Bonner get roasted. The cameras caught Clark jumping up, pumping her fists, and celebrating every defensive stop against her former teammate.
Indiana, and she just like really wasn't happy. And like I want people to be happy, so that's why I'm kind of like neutral on this one, which a lot of people are surprised about.
The joy on her face said it all. This was personal. She stayed loyal, hyping her squad as they locked down the player who had walked out on them. Clark's energy from the sidelines wasn't just support, it was a message about how the entire locker room really felt about Bonner's disappearing act. Then Alyssa Thomas, Bonner's fiancée, decided to pour gasoline on the fire. She taunted Fever fans, saying Bonner had joined a real team. That was about as disrespectful as it gets.
DeWanna Bonner quit on her team. She literally quit on her team. She didn't say, hey, this isn't working out. She just didn't say anything at all. She didn't say, hey, wish you guys good luck. She just didn't say anything at all. While she was conspiring behind the scenes on how to get out of Indiana, how to take that money and run, she left her teammates in the dark. She left her teammates just like us, wondering what the heck is going on. And Sophie Cunningham is shedding some light onto that entire situation.
And let's not forget, this is the same Alyssa Thomas who once claimed she felt unsafe in Indianapolis because of racism from Fever fans. Now she was provoking the exact same crowd while her girlfriend was getting cooked on the scoreboard. The difference in class was crystal clear. After the game, Aaliyah Boston and coach Stephanie White answered questions with total professionalism, focusing on the team's performance instead of diving into petty drama. That's the Fever culture, built on respect, not cheap shots. And the cherry on top? Bonner's pathetic stat line. 4 points on 1 for 4 shooting in 21 minutes. 4 points from the veteran scorer, who once sulked over being benched in Indiana, now completely shut down by her former teammates.
I don't understand why DeWanna Bonner is taking these interviews at this point in time. Because I'm like, look, you're in Phoenix. You've got what you wanted. You've got what everyone expected you wanted all along. Everything's gone your way. Indiana haters are going to love you because you screwed over the Fever. They're going to love you because you screwed over the Fever. Phoenix Mercury fans are going to love you. Rival fans are going to love you because you basically screwed over the Fever. Fever fans are going to hate you because
By the time the final buzzer sounded, the verdict was in. Bonner's Indiana chapter ended in humiliation. The same player who was supposed to mentor Caitlin Clark, lead the locker room, and push the Fever toward contention, had instead become the perfect example of how not to handle adversity. Sophie Cunningham's podcast Bombshell had already peeled back the curtain, but this game put it on full display for the whole league to see. Every missed shot, every defensive stop, every time the crowd roared, it was a reminder of what happens when you turn your back on your team.
Cunningham, that is her first team second. Coming in from Phoenix, number 14, DeWanna.
Fans didn't just see a bad performance, they saw justice. They saw a locker room that had been disrespected stand tall and send a message without saying a word. The boos, the blocks, the scoreboard. It all told the same story. Indiana was better off without her. And here's the kicker. Bonner left chasing greener pastures, but all she found was a cold welcome and a brutal reality check from the very people she walked away from.
DeWanna Bonner had any idea that how dirty she did her teammates on her way out of Indiana would ever come out to light. But Sophie Cunningham said, hold my beer. I got a podcast. I got this platform. I'm going to speak my mind. I'm not going to toe the company line. I'm not going to protect narratives. I'm not going to follow agendas. I'm going to tell you how it all went down. And DeWanna Bonner disappeared.
The Fever didn't just survive without her. They thrived. Sophie Cunningham didn't need to twist the knife. Her earlier words were already echoing loud after the beatdown. But she still made it clear that what happened was bigger than just one bad box score. To her, Bonner's exit wasn't about basketball. It was about respect, loyalty, and how you carry yourself when the lights aren't flattering. On her podcast, Sophie doubled down, reminding everyone that sending a simple text isn't hard. It's the least you can do for teammates who've gone to battle with you. You don't have to love every situation, she said, but you do have to respect the people in it.
DeWanna Bonner, I wouldn't do anything differently. I think my journey is my journey. I'm going to accept that. It carried me to where I am now in Phoenix, and it happened that way for a reason. It didn't happen that way for a reason. You forced yourself out of...
That line hit like a three-pointer at the buzzer. For the Fever, this wasn't just a win. It was closure. They'd weathered the drama, kept their culture intact, and proved they didn't need a so-called veteran leader who couldn't even stand in the fire with them. And for Sophie, it was proof that calling out the truth, no matter how uncomfortable, still matters in a league that often stays silent. The Fever walked out with a 107-101 win, proving once and for all that real team chemistry will crush individual ego every single time. This wasn't just a scoreboard victory, it was poetic justice. Bonner got exposed while her former teammates lit it up without her drama weighing them down. The players who stayed loyal to the vision were celebrating in the locker room, while the quitter was getting booed out of the building she walked away from.
Definitely going to be a part of her history, man, because the new wave is taking over. These new fans are watching. So at the end of the day, yeah, it's going to be a part of her history.
Bonner's betrayal turned out to be the best thing that could have happened to Indiana, because it showed them exactly who they didn't need. New additions like Ari McDonald and Chloe Bibby slid right into the system, bringing energy, grit, and respect for the culture the Fever are building. And with Clark's return right around the corner, this squad's chemistry is hitting an all-time high, the kind of momentum that can make serious noise in 2025.
Used to show up to work while receiving money, while taking payment. You refused to show up and do the job. And let's be clear, you wasn't even good while you was here. You was shooting threes hitting the side of the...
If you agree with Sophie about Bonner's ugly exit, drop a good riddance in the comments. Like, subscribe, share, and turn on all notifications so you never miss a moment. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next one.